everybody. It's great to be here today, and we're inside because it's nice and toasty
Cool.
outside.
Yes, it's cool inside. And welcome to the Vineyard District and this month's culinary view discussion about wine and food. And for those of you who are new to the culinary view, this is an aspect of our Vineyard District Vineyard Lifestyles program where we talk about an ingredient that's harvested during this month, something fun to do with that ingredient, and most importantly, the wine pairings for that ingredient.
You betcha. And, we're going to talk about Viognier. Viognier, and this is our gold medal winning Viognier. And here's the bottle. It's the 2020 vintage. It is a fabulous vintage, and it's something that we're really proud of. It's a great, it smells absolutely great. Now let's talk about the food.
So this month's ingredient, for August's ingredient, is sage. And sage is an herb that's got a kind of a mentholy, a savory component to it. It's really rich. Normally I would use it in meats and sauces, beans maybe, something that requires a heavier flavor weight. But because it's the summertime and the temperatures are high, we're going to focus on some cool chilled wines that also harmonize with sage. And Viognier is one of them. Viognier it's rich but light and delicate on the finish. So it's got a lot of aromatic, which gives it some aromatic weight, but it also follows through into the flavor weight, and it balances nicely with sage. If you incorporate sage into maybe a chicken dish, or if you include it in a sauce, even on some fish.
And you really incorporated it into something unusual, so why don't you show it off?
So one of the things for summertime is that we spend a lot of time with our children, our grandchildren, and we like to do crafts, and particularly in the kitchen. My grandchildren love to do things in the kitchen. And one of the things that's fun with any herb, but particularly with sage, is the window pane potato chips. So let me show you this.
Look at these beauties. Aren't they lovely? Ooh.
I don't know if you can see this with the light behind it. Yes, you can. Okay.
It's perfect.
You notice that this is a potato chip, but there is a sage leaf inside. And not only is it nice and crispy like a potato chip, but it's got this wonderful flavor of the herb that pops in your mouth when you take a bite. So it's a great snack. It's fun to make, easy to make. And
Why don't you say how you made it?
so all you do is you take your potato, and in this particular case I use the golden tomatoes, and just slice them very thin. Take 2 slices, put your the herb of choice in between, sandwich them, then put them on a coated baking sheet, cover them with some parchment paper, and put another baking sheet on top with an iron skillet, something to weight it down, and pop it in the oven for maybe 20-25 minutes at 400 degrees, and that's it. And that comes out nice and crispy. The key is how thin you're able to cut the potato, because the thicker the potato, the longer it takes to cook, but also the less crispy it is when you finish.
That's a beautiful looking potato chip.
It is, and even not just for
I'm
children.
gonna taste one of those.
It's great to put if you're decorating or putting a garnish on a plate. It makes a great garnish, and then you just salt it while it's still hot. Makes a nice.
Oh, the sage really comes
it pops
through.
out, yeah.
Really
and
does.
so you can do sage, mint, basil, thyme, any of the herbs that you prefer. But this one, I love the size of the sage leaf. It's got a nice texture, and it really looks good when you do it as a garnish on a plate.
And the Viognier. I love this Viognier because the Viognier is really crisp. It's got a nice sense of mineral, almost like you could feel the earth of its roots. It's really nice. And the wine really showed extremely well. It's continuing to show really well. Viognier is the type of wine, and the way we make it here, Paul Mitchell does, is about 85 to 90% of the Viognier is fermented in stainless steel, and then about 10% of the wine is fermented in oak, and it's sur lied, so that it ferments in the oak barrel, and then the oak barrel is mixed so that the lees are incorporated into the wine, so it develops that nice kind of yeasty character to it, almost that, that it goes through that malolactic thing, which makes the wine really taste almost creamy. So that 10% creamy with the crisp stainless steel really gives it 2 dimensions, and it's really, really nice. So beautiful wine. Well done, Paul Mitchell. Well done. Now the second wine is something
Close to
very
our hearts.
close to our heart.
Yes.
This is Sophia Marie Rosé. This happens to be the 2018 vintage, because rosés do age pretty nicely, usually up to about 4 or 5 years. And so it's got a beautiful cherry color, which allows that to happen. You know, many rosés start off looking like salmon, and within 2 years it looks almost brownish. But when the rosé has that nice cherry look to it, the cherry color maintains itself. So it really, I think it presents itself for a longer period of time. That's the type of rosé color that I like. And this one was made with Grenache, a lovely grape. And what Paul Mitchell does is he puts the wine in stainless steel, and normally there's the skins are unified with the wine, and the skins give it this cherry color. And then normally about 3 or 4 days after the skins have been with the juice, he bleeds off the juice, making the rosé, and then he leaves the skins with the remaining juice to go eventually into the GSM, so that the Grenache red has a deeper color because there's a higher concentration of skin relative to juice. So uses it for 2 purposes. First, the rosé bleeds off, and then secondly, he leaves the skins in the tank, and that's what allows the Grenache to have more color. So when you smell it, you smell the influence of the skin, because the skin is united with it for a couple of days. So it's a lovely smell.
And I chose it because it's light and it's refreshing, but it also has the flavor weight that you need in order to be able to pair it with sage, because sage is a strong flavor weight.
You know, a lot of times rosés are just very, very thin, and they have really no complexity. And this rosé does have the complexity because of that skin contact with the juice for those few days, where that the skin gives it that richness that many rosés don't have. So beautiful, beautiful wine.
So enjoy, have fun, get those potatoes out and get your herbs together, and engage your children and your grandchildren to make something fun and special that also adds a new ingredient to your favorite dishes.
Awfully good. Enjoy.